serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 154, I think, of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. I say I think because I don't know if I changed that whenever I made this. This is for the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2020. My name is Tim Beeman.
My name's Ray Morgan.
And I'm Leah Metz.
And we're opening the recipe box. Can you hear that? Ooh, somebody's got some cops coming. The cops are coming. They're coming to take me away.
Oh, yeah. I'm sitting here in the open porch. Sorry.
That's okay. We are. You mean there's something actually happening in Mount Airy?
No, it's just the road that I live on.
Yeah,
is one of the major cut throughs to get to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So we get a lot of. There goes the ambulance right now. So yeah.
All right. Well, we are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the Less Desirable Studios in the lab at Industry Hill. We are practicing social distancing and using Zoom, which is sponsored by Bull's Tavern.
Thanks, Danielle.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We do have a guest today. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But the only thing really, I have two things on my list. Dario has announced that they are preparing for a moderate reopening. Being as
good news, really good news.
Being as you know, they're going to be able to open with smaller capacity, and we'll see how that goes. But they are going to be hanging certificates conspicuously on their doors to inform the public of their last thorough cleaning and sanitization from an outside service. And it seems like they're properly preparing for their reopening, which is good.
Sounds like.
Yeah, they are taking it very seriously, and they're going to be, I don't know, All Red or All You Red or something is the company I think they're using that's coming in to do outside sanitation services. And
well, we certainly want our restaurants to take this seriously.
Well, of course. And the thing is a lot of people are complaining that they go to these restaurants and I'm not going back if they're not wearing masks. You know what that mask does is they already are under very strict rules about cleanliness and how they are supposed to be taking this seriously anyway. Before any of this happened, they are certified up to 4 or 5 times a year. So they know how to do it properly. And if you're concerned that they're not wearing a mask whenever they're handing you food out of a drive-through window, then just stay home. I'm just going to say that. Stay home.
Yeah.
The health department does not require them to wear a mask to hand out food. It does not require them to wear gloves. You know who the glove protects? Them, not you. So, because they're still touching everything. So,
yeah.
So the gloves and the masks are more for their protection than yours. So why does it matter? If you're afraid you're going to give somebody something, stay home.
I mean, if you think about it, when you hand them your credit card or your money or anything, you're potentially giving them an opportunity to get it.
That's exactly right. Okay. Anyway, soapbox in the corner. The other thing that I had was Cowboy Brazilian Steakhouse will be opening this week, I think, Thursday through Sunday, and there's every Thursday through Sunday for the foreseeable future from 4 to 8. And that's obviously just takeout for right now. And I don't know the ordering process. I've not been to the website to see, but I'm sure if you go to the website, which I don't have in front of me, but I can look that up. There's probably a way on there for you to order, or at least call them and they can walk you through the ordering process or take your order over the phone. I'm sure it would not be a problem for them to do curbside because there used to be valet parking. So, just they can step out to the curb and literally on the curb and give you your food.
Yeah, right from the kitchen.
Yep, absolutely. Leah, what have you?
I'm just picturing the way I normally eat at Cowboy. It's like, all right, I'd pull up, hand me a plate of food. I'm going to drive around the block.
Yeah.
All right, give me another plate of food. I'm going to drive around the block. Give me another one.
you get a big green dot that you get to put in your dashboard.
Yeah, we'll just start a merry-go-round around the block. Everybody get in line.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Nice.
Lee, anything on your side
funny.
of the list that's happening?
Yeah, so I do have one. Moji Coffee has posted that they are going to look to do curbside on Friday and Saturday of this week.
Cool.
As a temporary phase one. They're going to try it and see what happens. So I would just watch their Facebook page as we get closer to Friday to see how that's going to be. And it looks like you can go on their website and you can call or you can text your order over to them and then swing by curbside. They're only doing curbside. So
yeah, and they have swipe by too.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah. And that's the only one I have at the moment.
Well, I know I talked to Kathleen from Six and Vine last week, and while they're not quite ready to do any kind of reopening, they are exploring their options with that for at least the takeout. And so she said she would get back to me whenever the time was coming. And there was a post on Instagram, I believe it was this weekend, talking about some flower, I forget which kind, that was like a ray of hope or something that was springing up from a crack in the alleyway. And they said, we are exploring our options right now, so keep an eye out for some news coming. So don't know when that'll be, but it will be probably soon, which is good. All right, it's time for Getting in Your Business, and here to talk about the Herd Collaborative Cafe, the volunteer-driven food collective here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Please welcome Mr. Jordan Kuiper. Woo! You get sound effects. You're the first sound effects.
How you guys doing?
Yes, look at that.
I love to do sound.
So, tell us, first of all, what is Herd Collaborative Cafe?
So we decided to create Herd based out of the concept and idea of we had shut down our Providence kitchen here in downtown Winston-Salem inside the BB&T building, and we shut that down on March 10th. Obviously, the COVID-19 had just started to come around. It started to grow little by little, and by March 17th, pretty much we were deciding whether or not to keep the state open. At that point in time, our team at Second Harvest and for Providence sat down and said, we've got to come up with a way to be able to feed our people. Our people meaning the cooks of Winston-Salem, the chefs of Winston-Salem, the servers, bartenders, even our artists as well. We wanted to find a way to feed them. We knew that this was going to hit hard. We knew that this was going to be a struggle for a lot of people, especially people who would not be able to get unemployment. We definitely wanted to be able to help them. And being an individual who was in the service industry and was going to have a hard time myself if I was in that position, to be able to feed my family. We knew that a lot of our servers, a lot of our bartenders, a lot of our cooks live day to day, paycheck to paycheck. A lot of the servers and bartenders in the area live day to day. They base how they're getting their groceries off of the money and the tips that they're earning. When those tips and that money's not coming in, they can't feed themselves. So we decided to figure out a way to talk to BB&T, say, hey, we've closed down this operation, but we have a big need in the community. How can we reopen? And BB&T was pretty interested in that. It's quite gutsy to go to a business and say, hey, that business we shut down a week ago, we're going to reopen that. And so we went to them kind of thinking, well, we've got really good chance on being able to do this. We've got a really good location down here, and we need to keep this good. We need to feed our people. So we went to BB&T, now Truist, and they were really, really good supporters of it. Jumped right in for us, and by March 23rd, we were up and running. We didn't know how we would do it. The first couple days we were trying to figure out how can we operate. So we took a lot of the food that we had over at Providence, brought it over to here, to this location, so that we could staff up and feed people for the next few days. When we first started this, we knew that we would definitely have to be donation based, 100%. We knew that we would have to be 100% volunteer driven. So we reached out to as many people as possible. We reached out to the Cheney brothers of the world. We reached out. I hit up my brother really hard over at Joyce Farms and said, you're a good brother. You're my best brother. You got to be able to help me out. So he ended up donating about 2,000 pounds of chicken and chicken sausage and everything. Wow. And that helped out a lot. So that was able to feed a lot of families for several days for that. So we joined in with Cisco. Cisco was a huge supporter of us. Buckhead Beef jumped out right away, said, we'll give you about 800 pounds of brisket. So we knew that we were moving in the right direction. When the second part of this was, we were feeding people. And after the first weekend, my wife and I were talking, and I said, we're feeding people one meal a day. How can we feed them the rest of the day? How are we able to, how can we feed them the rest of the day and into the weekend? So I think I created my own beast when we created the grocery distribution. It made my job a lot bigger, a lot harder. And now we are distributing this past weekend. We distributed about $15,000 worth of groceries to people. Each box that we have feeds a family of 4. It's about $80 to $90 worth of groceries in each box. They'll get everything that we can get in from Second Harvest. So Second Harvest has been one to be able to let me come into the coolers and kind of see what I can have. If there's an abundance of apples, we'll have apples. If there's abundance of, like today with the sausage, with the Johnsonville sausage, we're able to do that. With the plant-based burgers, we're able to give that out to people. Bananas, stuff like that we're able to get in from Second Harvest. And then any of the donations that we receive, any of the food or any of the produce that we receive from outside vendors outside of Second Harvest, we're able to ask them whether they want them to go to the grocery distribution, or they want them to go directly to the Herd Cafe, where we produce about 450 to 500 meals every single day now.
So beyond the distributors and beyond Second Harvest, is like other restaurants, are they donating food and stuff too, or were they? Because I'm sure they're getting close to reopening now, so probably that might have pulled back a little, but I'm sure in the beginning it was here, I don't want this to go to waste.
Yeah, so that was a huge one for us. My friend Dion Sprinkle jumped in for us, and he actually ended up getting with the Benton Convention and donating their entire cooler full of food. So that was awesome for us. It was huge, probably about $20,000 worth of food that was donated that one day. Wow. So it took a lot to try to maneuver and figure out where we were placing places like Sixth and Vine. Sixth and Vine came over and donated a lot to us. We've had people like Grecian Corner. Grecian Corner didn't donate food, but they donated something that was bigger for us. One of our biggest costs here at Herd is our to-go boxes.
Right.
So what they did was they went ahead and brought over to-go boxes and to-go silverware, so that way we could go ahead and stock up on that. And that was really amazing for us. We've got places out in Raleigh that have donated food. Greensboro Smoked. Smoked went ahead, called me up, and Aaron Bray said, I've got a couple of cases of ground beef. Would you want them? I said, I'll drive anywhere that I can go to get food. Mm-hmm. I said, as long as somebody's willing to give it, I'll drive all the way up to Raleigh and Durham and all that, so that way I can grab it and bring it back, feed the people. And that's really our main goal. We created this for restaurateurs and for hospitality businesses, and they really have been a huge support for us and have really joined in and said, these are our people too. We've got to figure out a way to feed them. And so we've got a lot of places that have joined in, whether it be chefs. John Bobby has come through in a big way for us. Tim Grananetti has come through. Sammy Giannopoulos has been huge for this organization. He's one that really jumped on the ball with Fratelli's and Sammy G's and Three Bulls and has really taken the horns there. And
I see what you did there.
Yeah, he's really grabbed the bull by the horns there and has really come about to donate as much as possible for us. Not only with his restaurants and donating steaks and whatnot and beef and everything, but also getting in line with the distributors and using his connections and saying, hey, this is something good for us. And I think a lot of people have noticed that this is something that we're not going out to try to gain publicity. We're not trying out to gain money and say, hey, how can we become rich during this time period? We're just trying to help some people. And when we first started it, we started it and thinking, if we feed 20 people, we'll be fine. I said, if we feed 20 people, we know we fed 20 people that were in need. And then the first day that we started it with 84. Okay. And we fed 84 people. And so I said, wow, that was a busy day. Lo and behold, did we even begin to know that in just about 3 more days, we were feeding 500. So, wow. I mean, it was absolutely incredible to see the scope just rise and rise and rise. Our news partners have been incredible for us. And they've been huge for getting the word out about Herd.
So on an average day, what kind of people come through? Is it a little bit of everybody that comes through for the help?
So the help is a little bit of everybody. We've had people from churches that have joined in. Mm-hmm. We've also had a lot of the hospitality industry that's joined. Like I said, John Bobby has come and volunteered for us. He's been huge. Leon Sprinkles joined in and volunteered for us. He's been huge. But then we also have the cooks. We've got some cooks that are from local places. We've got some cooks that are from chains that have joined in and said, I really want to be able to help somebody and support. And plus, I'm going to be going crazy, being locked up in my house, so I might as well do something anyway. Yeah. So we've had a lot of people that have come through that way. We've also had a lot of people that have said, I want to be able to help the restaurants of Winston-Salem. I want to be able to help the people that are working them. We've had a lot of people from the general public who have said, I'll be able to help them because I love seeing them. I love going out to their restaurants. So when they come through and get a bag of food, I want to be able to say, hey guys, how you doing? Yeah. And that's been really awesome as well. So it's been a huge community support system.
Awesome. Ray or Leah, do you have any questions?
Where your heart was is that, you're like, all right, if we can feed 20 and then it gets up to 500 and then you're like, all right, what else can we do? Yep. You're just constantly looking for other ways to try to help. So many would have been like, all right, I did my little piece. I'm done. Y'all go on. I love that's where your heart is.
And I think that stems a lot from not only Jeff Bacon, who is the executive vice president for Second Harvest and for Providence, but also from our CEO over at Second Harvest, for Eric Aft. He's been a huge one for us that has really driven that heart and said, I've done this. How much more can I do? And not really stopping at just good enough. And then that's really one of the things that when we started this, we thought we don't want to do it to just be good enough. We want to make it to where we're doing something that's great for our community. And I think as it continues to grow, we're bringing in more, trying to get more people involved into it, trying to figure out, okay, how can we develop this into another outlet? How can we go ahead and have it somewhere else? How can we take this exact same model and create it over in Greensboro that we're doing? And we are actually feeding we're feeding 150 people 3 times a day in an IRC shelter in Greensboro. And so it's kind of one of those things that I think I'm a little bit crazy, because I started doing this and I thought, well, I'll do it and it'll fill in a couple hours of the day, and then I'll go home. And lo and behold, it's a 12-hour workday every single day for me. So I mean, it's evolved into this beast that's fun to be able to go into our coolers and say, hey, what do we have today? What can we find? What can we scrap? And I think it's fun for a lot of the other crazy people that have decided to join me in this and be a part of it. So
Well, it's definitely important and needed in these times for sure. And it's been amazing to watch and see how people have just kind of picked up and jumped in and to help your fellow man. So that's impressive, and kudos to you and the groups that are working with you. Um, Tell us, like, what can I do to help? Like, where can we give or be part of? Like, how can we help you in this as we continue in these times?
So there are several different things that we need here at Herd, because we are completely nonprofit. We organization at Herd. We do need donations. People, if they want to donate, they can go onto our website, which links it directly to the Herd bank account, which is at www.providencews.org, and it'll direct link them to the Herd, where they can go ahead and donate from there. The biggest donation after that would be hours, your time. We need volunteers as much as possible. That's one of the biggest things that we need right now, not only with Herd, but also with Second Harvest. One of the things that has dwindled down for us is definitely the amount of volunteers that we get in, because people are starting to go slowly. Our restaurants are starting to open. Some of the key people have to go back to work. Some of the chefs have to go back and go back to their restaurants. So we do still need those individuals to come in. And if you're not working and you're from a restaurant, we'd love to be able to have you come in here and help, give a couple hours every day, whether it be boxing up produce and distributing produce to families, or boxing up meals and serving those meals to families, or cooking those meals as well. We would absolutely love your help. And if you'd like to, you can go on to Sign Up Genius, and we have a link there on signupgenius.com, and that links it to Herd Collaborative Cafe, and you can sign up each week and each day on there, and it's certain hours that are listed there for individuals. And if you only have a couple hours worth of your time to come in and say, hey, I've only got time from, let's say, 9 o'clock in the morning till about 11, but I really want to do something and be able to help you guys out, hit me up. Go ahead and message me, and I'll be more than happy to arrange something. A lot of our volunteers here get here quite early in the mornings, to where they're helping, whether they're helping out cooking or cutting vegetables, or going ahead and unloading our trucks full of produce to get everything started for the day.
So I hear that you have someone near and dear to my heart that's going to be there tomorrow.
Yes. So your son is going to be one that's jumped in and become crazy with me, and he's going to be volunteering and cooking in the back for us. So we expect really, really tasty meals from Trey, and it's going to be awesome. So it's going to be good to have him back in the kitchen there, and I'm sure it'll take the rust off his knives that's been sitting at home for a little while, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So does he need to bring his own knives?
So we do have knives here for folks, but we also do have chefs that have said, I like working with my own knives best.
Yeah.
So we've got chefs that bring in their own knives. Also, as chef to chef, it's kind of one to say, hey, look at my knife. I've got a nice knife. Yeah. And so it's always that show off game. That's, ooh, look at his knife. That's really nice. Yeah. So who's got the best shun knife, right? Yeah. So I mean, that's always kind of a thing for chefs to be able to come in and say, hey, check this out. We've also got a really nice partnership with Larry that is Chef Sharp. Yeah. And he comes in and goes ahead and sharpens our knives every other Wednesday. So
cool.
Yeah. and that was his way of being able to help us out. He couldn't help us out with volunteering hours inside of herd, and he couldn't do anything to where he was cooking. But he decided, I'll volunteer and I'll help out the best way that I know how, and that was sharpening our knives, and that became really, really nice for us, and was a huge help.
Yeah, I because I'm high risk, I can't volunteer.
Yeah,
but so I'll do the next best thing. I'll send another Tim Beeman. Yeah. So, Jordan, real quick.
I'm also hearing that it really doesn't matter about skill level. If somebody wants to be involved, there's a way that they can help.
Exactly. If they want to be involved, there is. If you have not worked a day in a restaurant and you want to be involved some way, I will go ahead. I'll bring you in here, and we can go ahead, and everybody knows how to bag groceries. Mm-hmm. So we can go ahead and bag up groceries all day long. If you really want to be able to be out there and pass out the groceries to people, or you really want to bag up food and jump into the car lines and pass them out to the car lines, then absolutely, we would love your help. So I think everybody at home knows how to cut a vegetable. So we'd love everybody, if you're at home and you want to cut up some zucchini all day long, cut up about enough zucchini to feed 500 people, we'll have you there cutting zucchini for several hours.
Well, the opportunity is there, is what you're saying.
Yep. My executive chef, Vanessa Lanier, was saying the other day, she decided at first that she wanted to spend her time on salads, because she said, well, I know I've got a lot of work that I've got to be done. I've got some menus to write and everything. So we'll spend our time making salads. And it was about the second day that she spent about 8 hours making salads that she said, maybe I should go on to something else. She said, maybe I should cut some vegetables. She said, I'm so sick of seeing salad right now that I'm never going to eat a salad again. So, yeah.
So, Jordan, real quick, how's your family?
They're doing good. Christina's actually helping out over here with us. She's over here volunteering.
I saw her Saturday.
Yep. So she's over here with us. For a long time, what we decided to do, because my daughter is high risk as well. Christina's my stepdaughter is high risk. We decided to have her stay with her dad for a long period of time, and so we were unable to see her for about a month and a half when this first started, because we were dealing with the general public so much. We didn't want to be able to pass anything over to her, even though we were being safe. We wanted to make sure she was okay first, and so we didn't see her for a good period of time until Mother's Day, and Christina got to spend some time with her on Mother's Day and see her. So that was really special for us. And my dad right now is one that's the biggest fear of all right now. So he actually got sick before this happened. So he spent a month in quarantine before being quarantined. And so what he does now, and it's the funniest thing, his daily routine is to take the dog out for a walk in a mask. He'll get in his car and he'll drive down here and wave to me. And that's how he says, hey. So he drives down through the takeout line, and he'll just wave to me as he goes by and says, hey, how you doing? And that's how we communicate now. So it's super, super weird, but it's funny. And now it's the new normal. So, I mean, it's crazy to be able to be like, hey, Dad, how you doing? Good to see you for 30 seconds.
Yeah. How's Derek?
Derek's doing good. He is graduated, and we were so thankful for that. Yeah. And we threw a nice little get together for him. I went ahead and smoked a pork butt, and did some barbecue for him for his faux graduation party. And we had Christina and a couple of friends over to be able to celebrate with that for him.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to do something for Trey in a little bit, because this was his senior year too, and so and he just turned 18 this past Friday. So, so we owe him a couple of things, I think, whenever we were able to do it. And I understand too that you're going to be looking for a new space. Is this true?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that May 29th is our last day here at the BB&T location. And so one of the hard things for us with that is, so obviously the BB&T is now Truist, and they're moving all their staff over to their Charlotte location, which they've already done. So we're sitting basically in an empty building. And so that date is slowly but fastly approaching for us, and May 29th is the last day for herd at this location. We're currently in the works right now to try to find a new location for us that we will be able to operate herd out of, and be able to operate that at a low cost for us, or a no cost for us.
And Algernon, is Algernon helping you with that?
He is. So he's come through in a big way to try to reach out to some of the many people that he knows, whether it be at school board or Winston-Salem State University, or some of the local colleges around that are not in session or anything like that. So we're trying to figure out how can we go in and operate in maybe one of the school cafeterias and be able to cook there, because it's a large batch cooking. We're able to do that here because we have the ovens and the kettles and everything that were already set up here. So we're trying to figure out how can we go ahead and solidify one of those locations so that we can operate out of maybe a school cafeteria or Winston-Salem State or something like that. Trying to see what strings we can pull.
Of course. Well, you got the right man on it. Algernon will find it. If it can be found, he will find it.
Yeah.
Well, the first thought that came to my mind was, we've got elementary, middle, and high schools sitting empty that have big cafeterias. Even if you had to split it up and maybe do one on one part of town and one in another.
Yeah.
We've got the schools just sitting there, and we know they're not going to be doing anything until August.
Yep. Yeah. And so that's what we're trying to figure out now, is if the school system would be able to let us in one of the cafeterias, and maybe if we do a low cost system that way, then we'll be able to say, hey, this is how much of the utilities we'd be using. This is what we can give you in return, and go ahead and pay. The other side of that is it's a huge amount of publicity that has come about to herd. Whether it be through media, whether you guys, whether it be through news stations, there's a huge amount that is followed. So even if we move it to another location into the school system would be benefiting and getting a large amount of publicity from that as well. Not to mention that you're getting about 500 people that come to your parking lot every single day.
Oh, yeah. And the schools have.
At what point do you see herd no longer being needed?
I think the point that herd would no longer be needed is when everything starts back to 100%. And I think that's the thing that some people think about and they're struggling with right now. They say, oh, restaurants are going to reopen soon, right? Restaurants will reopen. Well, they're not going to reopen to the capacity that they were.
Right.
Even to we were talking about with Foothills, Shane Moore over at Foothills. We were discussing with him. So they have one of the largest dining areas in the Winston-Salem area right now. They had, I think he said something about 175 seats is what they have total. They went ahead and already mapped out for when restaurants are able to reopen to a smaller capacity. And he said that they went ahead and did it. And the maximum amount of tables that they could have is about 10. Wow. So you go from 175 seats to about 20, 30.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's big. So, I mean, if you look at the restaurants in South Carolina and Virginia and stuff that have started to reopen, right? A lot of them have said, that's great. You're wanting us to reopen at a lower capacity level. That's fantastic that you're starting to think about us. But the issue is, even at a 20%, 30% capacity level that you're telling us to go into, I can't pay my bills. Yeah. Even if I turn on the equipment and we be inside the restaurants, I can't pay my bills like that. I can't pay my staff. Mm-hmm. The servers where you had about 10 servers in your restaurant that were working, now you're limited down to 1 or 2. So you still got a lot of people without jobs that aren't working. And I think that when we go back to the old normal restaurants, where they were operating 100% capacity, able to staff everyone that they were, I think that's when herd would no longer be needed. There's always going to be people hungry. One of our things that we always say over at Second Harvest is the best day that we can have is the day that we get let go from Second Harvest because there's no longer a need for us. And that's the best, that'll be the best day for us, is when we get let go because there's no longer a need because everybody's fed. The unfortunate side of that is it's never going to happen. Right. The unfortunate side is there's always going to be a poverty level here in North Carolina and throughout the country. There's always going to be hungry children. There's always going to be hungry seniors, and there's always going to be hungry families that aren't able to feed themselves. So, I mean, there's always going to be a need for it. We'll just have to figure out a way to help our restaurateurs and our restaurant families and our servers and everything in a different capacity.
Wow.
It's definitely been interesting to watch and see how we're able to help our neighbors, and then for us to distinguish and realize that we actually need to do this past COVID.
Yeah.
And how do we make this sustainable, and how do y'all find a spot that you could do that? That's going to be an interesting thing to watch and see. But it's great that y'all recognize the need for that.
We'll give you guys kind of a rundown of the increase in the operational standpoint of my staff and Second Harvest. So when we shut down Providence, and all of our staff members, we took them and put them to work over at Second Harvest. When we first started this, our community meals section was doing several thousand meals a day to senior citizens and children in the communities. Now we're doing about 30,000 meals in that section a week that are feeding people. When we originally started, we did about 168,000 meals out of Second Harvest's warehouse every single day that we were shipping out dry goods and everything to feed. This past Friday, I believe it was, that we did almost 300,000 meals. So it's massive amounts of increases. And I think we definitely see that here.
Wow. So tell us once again how the volunteers can get to you, and if there's someone who's listening who actually has a need, how they can get to you to use your services.
So if you're a volunteer and you want to be able to join up with us and give some hours, you can go up to signupgenius.com, type in Herd Collaborative Cafe, and we'll be able to pop up. You can also go onto the Winston-Salem support website on Facebook. So the Winston-Salem service industry support site that I believe, Tim, you're a part of. Mm-hmm. And you can go on there, and we've got signups on there that you can jump onto. You can also message me on my Facebook personally, and I'll be happy to go ahead and sign you up if you're having difficulty going through that. Go ahead and message me on Facebook. It's, I'm sure Tim's got it, but it's Jordan Kuiper. Yep. On Facebook. And if you are a person in need, that's one of the biggest ones. We have a lot of people who are in need but don't want to come out because they've got a lot of pride in themselves. You know, we started this with one reason, and it's the biggest reason. It's to be able to feed those people that are in that need. So come on down. I want to be able to take care of you. It was one of the biggest, happiest moments when I get to see somebody that I recognize from a restaurant, one of my restaurant friends, and I get to help out their family. That's the biggest thing for me. If you want to be able to come down and get a meal, we're here Monday through Friday, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock at 200 West 2nd Street in downtown Winston-Salem. Right outside the BB&T building. We set up right there, right on the curbside. We have a police officer that will go ahead and direct traffic, so that way you can come into it. You can pop open your trunk. We'll give you some groceries to take home to the family. We'll give you some meals to take home to your family, so that way you can be able to get some help in this time. We have also got National Guardsmen out here that'll be able to give you some help. Also, if you are having trouble with unemployment, we have increased over here to be able to have Nikki Farrington, who has 20 years worth of social work, who is able to help you with your unemployment paperwork. She can go ahead and go through the process with you, answer any questions that you might have, and she's able to get a lot of people through unemployment form.
Awesome. Well, Jordan,
and we've also
go ahead.
Oh, so also in this time, do know that on Winston-Salem Strong website, we've got all your 3 ways to volunteer, to donate, and then if you need assistance, we've got that up on our website as well.
Yeah,
fantastic, guys.
Well, Jordan, I appreciate you stopping by. I know you're busy, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. As a personal thing here, Danielle and I were talking the other day, and we can do these things via Zoom, and we want to start working towards the Sipping NC. For those who don't know, Jordan Kuiper and I started Sipping NC, 5 years ago, and we are going to relaunch it with Danielle Bull from Bull's Tavern, who's also one of my co-hosts on The Less Desirables, and there's a lot of booze history between the two of them, and a lot of drinking that I've done. So we're going to get that cranked back up as soon as we can. So Jordan, I appreciate it so very much that you're here and what you guys are doing. And thank you so very much.
God bless you and keep up the work.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I certainly do appreciate it, and appreciate the time that you spent with me.
Have a great day, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you again to Jordan Kuiper at Heard Collaborative Cafe. And if you don't know, that's Heard, Heard, like I heard it. And the name, I believe, comes from in the kitchen. If you've worked in a restaurant, when someone says behind with a knife or something sharp, you say heard, like I heard that. It's a kitchen term. So I need 3 steaks ready to go, blah, blah, blah. Heard. So that's where the name comes from. I think that's awesome. All right. Well, let's do some food holidays and history. Today is the 18th of May, is National Cheese Soufflé Day. Yay.
Oh, yum.
And it is I Love Reese's Day.
Oh.
And I do love Reese's. I actually, before we record this podcast, I had 2 of those the Reese's Easter eggs.
Nice.
What'd you say, Ray?
Holding on to them since April, have you?
Well, they were
You've been holding on to those since April, right?
Yeah, they were in my container that my care package, as we talked about last week, that my mother had sent to my studio with zingers and cheese danishes and oatmeal pies and all kinds of sweet things that will totally eradicate or bring back those 3 pounds that I've lost this week. So anything I can do to keep my figure intact, I'm going to do that.
Got to keep your girlish figure.
That's right. Yeah, that round is a shape, I hear. I'm in shape.
Round is a shape.
Yeah, round is a shape, or that whole reverse hourglass thing.
Just more of you to love.
That's right.
All
That's right. Stephanie has told people she likes squishy guys. So I'm like, yes, I am certainly squishy.
Actually, I don't know that she likes squishy guys. She likes one squishy guy in particular.
This is true. This is true. Because her other like ex-husband and past boyfriends, they were all rather slender folk. So, yeah, I'm the squishy guy. And I'm okay with that. On the 18th in 1897, the Dow Chemical Company incorporated to sell bleach on a commercial scale. On the 18th in 1953, TWA made the first nonstop transcontinental flight from Los Angeles to New York in a DC-7.
Cool.
And that happens all the time now. In 1994, on the 18th, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration declared the first genetically engineered tomato, the Flavor Saver, without any E's for whatever reason, was safe for human consumption. It was not a commercial success, and production ended just 3 years later.
Well, too bad.
Yeah, we're not really interested in genetically modified stuff.
No. In 2001, on the 18th, Hong Kong ordered more than 1 million chickens and other poultry killed to halt the spread of another bird flu epidemic.
I actually remember that.
Yeah. I think I do. On the 19th, it is National Devil's Food Cake Day, which Ray should like because it's chocolate something.
Chocolate. Yep. It's another good day. You'll notice that there's some sort of chocolate being celebrated on a pretty regular basis. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, because it's so good.
We need it.
Yeah, yes. And taken the right way, it's actually healthy for you too. On the 19th in 1713, more than 200 people rioted on Boston Common over the high price of bread. I have stood on Boston Common. It is.
Were you rioting about bread prices then?
I was not. I was actually looking for Cheers.
Did they know your name?
They did not know my name, but I did buy a Cheers glass, which is here in the studio, by the way.
I was like, I bet they knew your name when you left.
They did because I told them. Because, I don't shy away from telling people my name. That's why I never get away with anything. On the 19th in 1910, the Earth passed through the tail of Halley's Comet, and you know what happened? Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. There had been dire predictions that everyone would die, and many hucksters sold comet pills to counter the effects of the comet gas.
Oh.
Hucksters. 1 year later,
what a great word.
Hucksters. I like it. 1 year later, in 1911, on the 19th, in Canada, the Dominion Parks branch of the Department of the Interior is established, and it was the world's first national parks service. I thought that would have been us, but it wasn't. It was our folks to the north, eh? And how do you spell Canada? Canada. In 1962, on the 19th, Marilyn Monroe sings, "Happy Birthday, Mr. President," to the president at the time, John F. Kennedy, at Madison Square Garden. I'm sorry, I'm totally off. On the 20th of May, National Quiche Lorraine Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what quiche Lorraine is. I know I like quiche mostly, and Lorraine, whatever that is.
Lorraine.
I like Lorraine.
She's a really nice lady.
She is,
and a nice realtor on top of that.
Yep. She's quietly funny. That's the thing about her. If you really talk to her, she can throw some stuff out there, and you're like, I did not expect that from you. On the 20th.
Yep.
On the 20th is also National Pick Strawberries Day.
Oh.
You ever done that?
I have never gone strawberry picking. That seems like way too much work.
It is. It is way too much work.
But it's so good. Because, see, here's the thing. They weigh your container when you go in, so they know, how much that was.
Yeah.
Then they weigh it on the way out. so they know how many strawberries you pick. But they don't weigh you on the way in and the way out.
So what you eat whilst picking is unmeasured.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. I mean, I know I had to gain 5 pounds just picking the strawberries because they're so good. You just like, okay, one for the bucket, one for me, one for me, one for me, one for the bucket.
Yeah. Where is the nearest strawberry farm around here? Do you know?
I could not tell you.
There's the children's home. Well, Crossnor.
Crossnor, okay.
Has a berry patch. Yeah. When I used to work over there, sometimes we could volunteer at the patch, and I always loved asking the little kids, like, "Have you eaten any strawberries while you were out there?" And they'd be like, "No." But then there was strawberry
juice
all over their faces and on their shirts, and it was like, okay, well, enjoy your strawberries then.
Making compote, are you?
I've been to a strawberry farm over near Hickory. I know there's some other ones locally, but
yeah,
couldn't tell you.
All right. Well, on the 20th,
there's a bunch.
Yeah, on the 20th in 1810, on that day, Dolly Madison, wife of President James Madison, supposedly served the first ice cream at the White House for a reception.
Nice.
Very good.
On the 20th.
Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly.
Hello, Dolly. On the 20th in 1862, President Lincoln signed the Homestead Act into law. It opened millions of acres of Western land to settlers, of course, displacing the indigenous Indians that were already there, the Native Americans. But, we'll leave that part out, obviously. On the 20th in 1874, jeans with copper rivets are patented by Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm surprised by that, as it seems like it would have been later or earlier. It's just an odd time, I think, for that. 1 year after
I
that,
thought it would have been earlier.
Yeah, maybe. Jeans have been around for a while. It was a working thing then. My dad even talks about when they were in high school, if you wore jeans and that you were lower class or working class or poor, or jeans and white socks. And then, by the time I got in school, everybody was wearing jeans and white socks.
Right.
In 1875, on the 20th, the International Bureau of Weights and Measures was created. On the 20th, in 1892, George Sampson received a patent for a clothes dryer. In 1961, a record Jewfish, now renamed Goliath Grouper, which I think is a much better name, it weighed at 680 pounds and was caught at Fernandina Beach, Florida.
Whoa.
680-pound grouper, a Goliath grouper.
That's a big grouper.
Yeah. Speaking
That's
of
a lot of fish.
That's a huge bitch. But on the 20th in 1993, speaking of Cheers, it was the last episode of Cheers that aired on that date.
Oh,
it was a great show.
Day.
Yeah, it was a great.
It was
day.
a good show. It was really written well.
I tell you, another show we just finished, and if you take away the reboot that happens, and it's still actually going on, I didn't realize that. The original Roseanne was actually a really good show. I think it got a lot of crap when it was on, but it stayed toward the top of the ratings. But we watched the entire season. That's 9 seasons in just over a month because what else do we have to do? And I have to say it was one of the better ways to wrap a show up. If you've not seen the finale, I'm not going to give that away, but the way they ended it, I thought was ingenious. I'm not going to say I enjoyed the last season as much as the rest of the seasons, but whenever the last episode aired, you're like, oh, that makes so much sense. And actually, Stephanie and I were discussing it laying in bed Sunday morning. Thinking back about this, do you think this was blah, blah, blah? She goes, I don't know. I was thinking the same thing. But yeah, and then they rebooted it, and Roseanne, who oddly enough was very much a champion for everything she got fired for during the show and in her real life. And then she made remarks and got fired, and they changed the name of it from Roseanne to The Conners. And that actually is still going on, and I think doing fairly well.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I don't know how we got, cheers. That's how I got off on that. So on the 20th in 2009.
Welcome to the Bunny Trails.
Yes, right. In 2009, on the 20th, it became the Hot Dog Wars. Sara Lee, who owns Ballpark Franks, sued Kraft Foods, who owns Oscar Mayer Jumbo Beef Franks, over claims that Oscar Mayer Franks are better than Ballpark Franks. Mine's better. No, mine's better. Well, I'm suing.
Mine's less slappy than yours.
I will say, I would prefer to have
Leah, your expression.
I'm not going to touch that on more ways than one.
Got bun, hun. But the I like Ballpark better than Oscar Mayer. I'll be honest.
Do you?
They plump bigger. Touch that one. And the 21st.
No.
I'm not particularly fond of hot dogs in general.
Oh, really?
Oh.
You're not a cased meat kind of guy.
No. No.
Bratwurst? Okay.
Yeah.
Brat. Okay.
Love brats.
Yeah, we had brats last night instead of hot dogs.
Ooh.
I was wondering why Tamika Wells had delivered hot dog buns to us in our latest grocery delivery, but then I was surprised with brats last night. So, yay.
Good job, Tamika.
Yeah. So on the 21st, it is National Waitstaff Day, which is fitting, I think.
Very fitting, given our conversation with Jordan.
Yep, absolutely. It's also National Aperitif Day 2020.
It's almost like you planned that.
I know. It's funny, isn't it? You know what?
The timing.
You know what?
is
Wink, wink,
excellent.
nudge, nudge. I did.
I believe it.
I don't know if that came through. Do it again.
You did.
The 21st is National Aperitif Day 2020, which is declared annually in a press release by Maison Lillet, or Lillet, the celebrated vintner in Bordeaux. So he has say into when National Aperitif Day is, and it happens to be Thursday, the 21st. Yay for aperitifs. It's also National Strawberries and Cream Day. Yeah, you can go pick them the day before, and then you can have them with cream the next day.
I like it. It's good.
On the it's good. On the 21st in 1765, the first agricultural fair in North America was held at the British garrison Fort Edwards, Nova Scotia. In 1853, on the 21st, the world's first public aquarium, the Aquatic Vivarium, opened in Regent's Park, London, England. On the 21st, in 1881, Clara Barton founded what? Anyone? Bueller?
Bueller. The name sounds really familiar.
Clara Barton founded... Clara Barton, I'm having too much fun with these. Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
It's the Red Cross. Yeah, that's right.
Very good.
I was going to say that, but
I was too, but I didn't. I wanted Tim to look more intelligent.
Okay, well, thank you. I need all the help I can get. On the 21st in 1916, to much confusion, daylight savings time was introduced in Britain as a wartime measure to save fuel. However that goes. I guess heating fuel, probably. On the 21st in 1921, Taggart Banking Company of Indianapolis, Indiana, introduced Wonder Bread. That's baking, not banking. It's baking company. Taggart Baking Company of Indianapolis introduced Wonder Bread. The red, yellow, and blue logo, created by Taggart Vice President Elmer Klein, was inspired by the International Balloon Race at Indianapolis Speedway. So all the different color dots that he was looking at in the sky is what helped that logo. On the 21st in 1923, Delmonico's restaurant closed its doors the first time, a victim of Prohibition. Some sources list it back in 1918, but I think they were there into the 20s. On the 21st in 1927, after a 33.5-hour flight from Roosevelt Field in New York, Charles Lindbergh landed in Paris at 10:24 in his single-engine airplane, the Spirit of St. Louis. This was the first solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean. I'm not sure of the year, but I know the 21st is my mother-in-law's birthday. Stephanie's mom has a birthday that day. It's also in 1999, my nephew Corey, my sister's oldest, was born. So he'll be 21 Thursday. Yeah. And on the 21st in 1957, George B. Hansberg of Walker Valley, New York, received a patent for his invention of an improved pogo stick. It was a vertical pole with the footrests and a spring-loaded assist to enable hopping, and that they say it's great exercise. To me, like picking my own strawberries, it's too much damn work.
And what did he do to improve it? I just
Right?
Yeah. I guess adding the footrest, because, you know, otherwise it was hard to just hold your grip with your feet. You know, just grabbing hold. You have to do it barefoot so you can just grab on. I don't know.
It's been a long time since I've used a pogo stick.
Mine too. Yeah, me too. The 22nd is National Maritime Day. Annually, it's to honor the U.S. Merchant Marine. And it's also National Vanilla Pudding Day.
Okay.
What's your favorite flavor of
cocoa
pudding?
powder in there?
The chocolate. I know yours,
Really
Ray,
make it
because
good.
you're chocolate. But what's your favorite pudding, Leah?
Maybe banana? I don't know. I don't eat much pudding.
I am equally banana and butterscotch fan. I'm a huge butterscotch fan. I'm a butterscotch anything, basically. On the 22nd in 1819, as mentioned earlier, the American steamship SS Savannah sailed from Savannah, Georgia to Liverpool, England, the first steamship to cross the Atlantic. It arrived in Liverpool on June 20th, 1819, and that's why it is U.S. Merchant Marine or National Maritime Day. On the 22nd in 1892, Dr. Washington Sheffield invented the collapsible metal toothpaste tube.
Okay.
Somebody had to come up with that at some point.
That's true. I guess they're just plastic now, right? I guess some of it might be like aluminum or something, like the ones that you can roll up. I know I'm a Sensodyne guy, and those are just plastic. You don't roll them up; you just squeeze the crap out of them.
Yeah, but from the top down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You always squeeze from the back. That's why I don't understand when people that are squeezing it from the front. I'm like, that's just more work later. Do it right the first time. On the 22nd in 1931, canned rattlesnake goes on sale. Packaged by George K. End of Arcadia, Florida. It's not quite as big a hit as Spam, but I don't know anybody that still does that. So, in 1946, on the 22nd, the CIA is founded. Not the Central Intelligence Agency, but the Culinary Institute of America. Our friend Travis Myers is a graduate of the CIA. In 1956, on the 22nd, Lever Brothers registered whisk trademark for America's first liquid laundry detergent. And one of those things to make you feel old, in 1990, Microsoft releases Windows 3.0.
Oh.
I remember when Windows 95 was a big deal.
Yep.
So, all right. And on the 22nd in 2005, Thurl Ravenscroft died. Usually I don't talk about life or born births or deaths, but he was a voice actor best known as the voice of who? Thurl Ravenscroft? Anyone? Bueller? I got to get that for the sound pad.
Crickets.
Yeah, you're going to need to get that.
He actually was the voice of Tony the Tiger. They're great. And also, he is the one singing "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch."
Mr. Grinch.
Oh.
Yeah. He, of course, it was Bela Lugosi who was doing, Bela Lugosi did the voice of the Grinch, and the narrator, but it was Thurl Ravenscroft that sang the song, who was also a great friend of Walt Disney. And if you have been on the Haunted Mansion rise, the grinning ghosts, the one that looks like Walt Disney, that's him singing the bass parts.
Cool. I remember that.
Yep. And on the 23rd, it is National Taffy Day. I'm a fan of taffy. I like taffy. On the 23rd,
being made.
Yeah. On the 23rd in 1774, residents of Chestertown, Maryland, react to news of the Boston Tea Party by staging a similar protest, dumping a shipment of tea into the Chester River. On the 23rd in 1911, the New York Public Library, the largest marble structure ever constructed in the United States, was officially dedicated by President William Howard Taft. The Beaux-Arts building, located on 5th Avenue between 40th and 42nd Street, cost $9 million and took 14 years to complete. It opened to the public the next day. On the 22nd...
14 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time to wait on a building.
Yeah, well, it was marble, so they probably had to wait on the marble to get there. Other things, if you're just pouring concrete, that's one thing. But this was, I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. On the 23rd in 1922, Thomas Edison patented a method for making metal foils. On the 23rd, 11 years later, on the 33rd, 1933, not 33rd. I'm a dumbass. Max Wasserberg of Brooklyn, New York, received a patent for a collapsible beach and lawn chair. I think that's the same one we use today.
Say life has never been.
That's right. Life's a beach.
In the same sense.
In 1939, William Underwood Company registered Underwood trademark for canned deviled ham. Never been a fan.
No.
Yeah. In 2016, archaeologists uncovered a 5,000-year-old brewery in the Central Plain of China. It is the oldest beer-making facility ever discovered in China. Residue from inside the uncovered pots and funnels, including a mix of fermented grains, broomcorn, millet, barley, and Job's tears, a chewy Asian grain known as Chinese pearl barley. The recipe also called for tubers, which were added to sweeten the flavor and flavor the beer. As reported by the Journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Tubers. I think that's like weeds and stuff. Like the stalks or whatever of like mushrooms and things. I don't know how I would feel about my beer being brewed with mushrooms. I mean,
if it tasted good, that'd be one thing.
Yeah, it's true. But it's mushrooms. We've had a beverage that was made of mushrooms on this show. And while
Yes,
it
we
was,
have, and it was very tasty.
yeah, well, tasty might be stretching a little. It wasn't awful, but it was not my favorite thing to drink. Then it wasn't awful. That being said, Bingo Bango, I think I said it last week. They finally got their stuff moved in here, so hopefully we can get them on the show eventually. Let's see. On the 24th, I had to figure out where I was on my thing. Is National Escargot Day, which I am a fan of escargot. So I will be. I'm not going to find it anywhere around here, at least not during the lockdown. But I would love to have some.
Actually, the first escargot I ever had was in Winston-Salem at the now defunct Cumberland Cafe.
Where was that?
Over off Brownsboro Road.
Okay.
Down from where the theater used to be.
Right. Yeah. Right around the corner from the prison camp.
Yeah.
The first place I ever had it, it's now, I think, 66 Cafe or whatever the thing was. It was Jimmy's Seafood, a couple things. When they first built it, it was like Tuscany Italian restaurant. And they had it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll try it. And it wasn't bad. And then as my taste developed, I liked it more. I'm not much on a texture. I don't get turned off by texture generally. And it just tastes like a lot of garlic and butter. So I like garlic and butter.
I do too.
On the 24th in 1830, the nursery rhyme Mary Had a Little Lamb by Sarah Josepha Hale was first published. I thought it was older than that.
I did too.
In 1883, the Brooklyn Bridge between Brooklyn and Manhattan was opened. It took also 14 years to build at a cost of $18 million and was the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time. On the 24th. I wonder
where that is now.
I would say probably something. I would say something like Dubai or someplace like that. Not Dubai, but Abu Dhabi or something like that. Because they have long spans of water between like islands and stuff. Maybe Indonesia, something like that. On the 24th in 1893, the Anti-Saloon League was founded by Howard H. Russell in Oberlin, Ohio, to which we say, screw you.
Yeah.
Salute. In 1893, on the 24th in Newfoundland, Canada, it bans fishermen from killing seals on Sundays. All other days of the week, presumably, are okay. Not now, but then. On the 24th in 1931, the B&O, which is anybody know what B&O means?
Railroad.
Well, yeah, but you know what the B&O stands for? Bueller.
Boston and Ontario?
No, but a good guess. It stands for Baltimore and Ohio.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. The B&O Railroad passenger train, the Columbian, between Jersey City, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C. began service as the first fully air-conditioned passenger train. Obviously not going between Baltimore and Ohio there, but the company was B&O. In 1945, the first Foodomat was installed in a Grand Union Company store in New Jersey. And Foodomat, which is, those vending machines that spin around and you pick what you want out of it.
Yeah.
And in 1976, if you've seen the movie Bottle Shock, which I do recommend if you haven't, has Alan Rickman, Chris Pine, and Bill Pullman in it, but is about this incident in 1976 in Paris. 2 California wines won top honors at a blind wine tasting by the best of France's wine experts. The French were naturally shocked because they thought that no one could touch theirs. And the wine world was forever changed. And if you've not seen Bottle Shock, I highly recommend it. It is a very, very good film. The great Alan Rickman, the late, great Alan Rickman. That's all the food, holidays, and history I have for this week. Special thanks to James Ehler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, talk about strawberries and cream, and always having something to do with chocolate. To turn Ray on there. So thank you for all of that. The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Apartment 5B, Beeswax Vinyl, and more. And Sipping NC, like Jordan and I just talked about. And Wheeler's Dog, which is back to 2 a week, but 1 is a Patreon-only podcast. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You also find social media links for each one there as well. We'd greatly appreciate it if you visited our sponsors like Washington Perk and Provision Company. The Perk is located 301 West 4th Street. You'll find a little bit of everything there at the Perk, local fruits and veggies, meat and dairy from local sources, Bingo Bango Sodas made right here in Winston-Salem, Wolfie's Custard, which is also made right here in Winston-Salem. Washington Perk is better than a convenience store, not quite a grocery store. On Facebook, they are Washington Perk, or at Washington Perk _DTWS on Instagram. West End Coffee House and Humblebee, are they still collaborating?
Still going strong and cranking out those delicious looking desserts and even some little macaroni and cheese pies.
Oh yeah.
Well,
as far as Humblebee shop goes, they're located at 1003 Brookstown Avenue in the west end of downtown. I will change this to at least modify it to fit the times. But Brittany and Dana are whipping up the batter on some delicious desserts, cakes, muffins, pies, macaroni and cheese things. They can do it regular, vegan, gluten-free. At least Brittany does. The Humblebee shop wants to challenge your perception of scratch made and leave you with an experience you couldn't possibly forget. For more information, follow them on Facebook and Instagram or visit thehumblebeshopapa.co.
That's SHOPPE.co.
And Carrabba's Italian Grill, located at 587 South Stratford Road. Let Daniel, the awesome Daniel Budner, demonstrate what a responsible large-scale family of restaurants looks like. Carrabba's takes the community it serves very seriously, and having a fantastic franchisee like Daniel certainly does not suck. Follow Carrabba's on social media and on carrabbas.com. That will be one of the first places I look forward to going back to when we're able to actually sit down. I've had their to-go food, and it's still just as fantastic. And when you get home, it's still, I don't know what they do to it, but when you get home, it's still ripe and ready to go. So, Carrabba's, as always.
Love me some Carrabba's.
Yes, me too. Keep an eye on the blog and this podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send us an email, tim@themanwhoatethetown.com or learmetz@gmail.com. There will soon be another email you can reach each of us at, or Leah and myself, and maybe Ray. You never know what we can talk him into. If you, you can always go to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter Instant Messengers. I answer those too. Like us on Facebook, of course. On Twitter, we are Man Who Number 8 the Town. On Instagram, we are Man Who 8 the Town. And now we invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast. Actually, any podcast on the TLD network, you can call 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422 Numb. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the podcast. Again, 336-422-NUM-6862. This is a reminder for all of our listeners, and it's just good practice, and not just for now, but for always. Wash your damn hands. Wash with warm water and soap. Doesn't have to be antibacterial soap, just real soap. Sing happy birthday while you're doing it. Sing, I don't know, sing the first stanza of Alice's Restaurant, or the chorus, because, you know, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant, except in Alice.
Except in Alice.
Yeah, that's right. Except in Alice. Just do it. Wash your damn hands. All right. Well, my name's Tim.
My name's Ray.
And I'm Leah.
And we are closing the recipe box. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit.
Yamas.
The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.